An HOA parking enforcement officer booted my car at the hospital while my heart patient wife was having emergency surgery. She did not know I was the governor. She charged me $850 and refused to let me go inside. But her actions would cost her everything, 20 years in prison and a new law that changed the nation forever. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. I woke up at 6:15 a.m. on that Sunday morning. The sun was just coming up, and the house was very quiet. Angela was still sleeping next to me. I could hear her breathing softly. I had been married to Angela for 12 years, and I still loved watching her sleep. I got out of bed slowly so I would not wake her up. I had a busy day ahead of me. There were many government papers I needed to read and sign. As the governor of this state, I had a lot of work to do, even on weekends. I went downstairs to my home office. I made a cup of coffee and sat down at my desk. I started reading the first report. It was about schools and education. I was reading about how we could make schools better for children when I heard Angela calling me from upstairs. Michael. Michael, please come here. Something is wrong. Her voice sounded scared and weak. I had never heard her sound like that before. I immediately dropped what I was doing and ran upstairs as fast as I could. When I got to our bedroom, I saw Angela sitting on the bed. She was holding her chest with both hands. Her face was very white, like all the blood had gone out of her. She was breathing very slowly and carefully, like every breath hurt. Angela. What's wrong? What happened? I asked, running to her side. I sat on the bed next to her. My chest, she said very quietly. Michael, my chest hurts so much. I can't breathe properly. I think something is wrong with my heart. Angela had always had a weak heart. The doctors had told her this when she was young. She took medicine every day to help her heart work better. She was careful about what she ate and how much exercise she did. She tried to avoid stress. But sometimes, even with all the medicine and care, her heart would give her problems. I could see the pain on her face. This was not like the other times. This was worse. Much worse. Okay. Don't worry. I'm here with you, I said, trying to sound calm even though I was very scared inside. We need to get you to the hospital right now. I'm so scared, Michael, Angela said, squeezing my hand. What if something really bad happens? What if it's serious? It's going to be okay, I said. The doctors will help you. We just need to get to the hospital fast. I did not waste any time. I picked up my phone and called 911. A woman answered on the phone. 911, what is your emergency? She asked. My wife is having chest pain. She has a heart condition. I think she's having a heart attack, I said quickly. Okay, sir, can you tell me your address? The woman asked. I gave her my address. She told me that an ambulance was on the way. She said it would take about 15 minutes to get to my house. 15 minutes? I said. I looked at Angela. She was in so much pain. 15 minutes seemed like too long. St. Mary's Hospital is only 10 minutes away by car. Should I just drive her myself? If you feel like you can get her there safely, then yes, you can drive her yourself, the woman said. Just be careful on the road. I hung up the phone. I knew I could get Angela to the hospital faster by driving myself than waiting for an ambulance. Come on, honey. Let's get you to the hospital, I said. Angela was very weak. She could barely stand up. I had to hold her and help her walk. I moved very slowly and carefully. I did not want to make her condition worse. We went downstairs step by step. Angela was holding onto my arm the whole time. She was still holding her chest with her other hand. Every few steps, she would stop and breathe very slowly. Just a little bit more, I kept saying. We're almost to the car. I helped her sit down in the front seat of my car. I put the seat back so she could lean back and rest. I got her purse and put it on the back seat. Then I ran around to the driver's side. I started the car and pulled out of the driveway. I was driving as fast as I safely could. I knew I needed to get to the hospital, but I also knew that if I drove too fast and crashed, it would make things worse. "Stay with me, Angela. Stay with me," I said, driving through the quiet Sunday morning streets. "I'm trying," Angela said very quietly. "It hurts so much." "I know it hurts. But we're going to be at the hospital in just a few minutes. The doctors are going to help you," I said. Angela was making soft sounds of pain. Sometimes she would say, "I can't breathe," and then she would try to breathe very slowly. I could hear the fear in her voice. I was scared too, but I tried not to show it. I needed to be strong for her. The hospital was getting closer. I could see the green road signs that pointed to St. Mary's Hospital. I took the next turn and drove toward the hospital. "We're almost there, Angela." "Just a little bit longer," I said. I could see the hospital building now. It was a big building with many windows. The red emergency room sign was very bright and easy to see. I drove as fast as I could toward the emergency entrance. When I got to the emergency area, I saw the parking spots marked with red lines. These spots were reserved for emergency vehicles like ambulances. But my wife was having a heart attack. This was an emergency. This was more of an emergency than any other emergency I could think of. I parked my car in the first emergency spot that I could find. I did not even turn off the engine at first. I just jumped out of the car and ran around to Angela's side. I opened the door and helped her out. "Help! We need help!" I shouted toward the hospital. 2 nurses came running out of the hospital. They were moving very fast. When they saw Angela, they immediately knew something was very serious. "What happened?" one nurse asked. "She's having chest pain. She has a heart condition." "I think it's a heart attack," I said quickly. The 2 nurses moved very fast. One of them brought a wheelchair. They helped Angela sit down in it very carefully. The other nurse was already talking into a radio on her shoulder. "We have a potential cardiac emergency coming in," she said into the radio. 52-year-old female with chest pain and a history of heart problems. "Come with us, sir," the first nurse said to me. "Yes, I'm coming," I said. The nurses started wheeling Angela into the hospital. I was following right behind them. We went through the big glass doors and into the emergency room. There were doctors and other nurses waiting for us. They immediately surrounded Angela. "We're going to take good care of her," one of the doctors said to me. "We need to do some tests right now. You wait here, and we'll tell you what we find." "Okay, but please help her," I said. "She's my wife. Please help her." The doctors wheeled Angela away into a room. I stood in the emergency room hallway, not knowing what to do. I was so scared. I started praying to God to help Angela. I prayed that she would be okay. I did not know what was happening to Angela. I did not know if she was alive or dead. I did not know if she was in terrible pain or if the doctors had given her medicine to help her feel better. I just stood there and waited. After what felt like forever, a doctor came out to talk to me. He was wearing blue scrubs. His face was very serious. "Are you Angela Chen's husband?" he asked. "Yes, I'm Michael Chin." "Is she okay?" "What's wrong?" I asked quickly. "Your wife is having a heart attack," the doctor said. "The good news is that we found it very early. If you had waited any longer, the damage to her heart could have been much worse. The bad news is that she needs emergency heart surgery right now." "Heart surgery?" I said. "How serious is this?" "It's very serious," the doctor said. Her heart has been damaged. We need to go in and fix it. We need to do surgery to repair the blood vessels in her heart. If we don't do this surgery, she will die. But if we do the surgery, we think we can save her life. My whole body felt very cold. My wife needed heart surgery. She might die. This was the scariest moment of my entire life. Can I see her? I asked. Yes, but only for a few minutes. We need to get her into surgery very soon, the doctor said. I followed the doctor to a room. Angela was lying on a hospital bed. She had tubes in her arm and a machine was showing her heart beating. She looked so small and so weak. When she saw me, she started crying. Michael, she said. They said I need surgery. They said my heart is broken. I took her hand and held it very tightly. You're going to be okay, I said. The doctors are going to fix your heart. I'm going to be here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm so scared, Angela said. What if I don't wake up from the surgery? What if something goes wrong? You're going to wake up, I said. You're going to be fine. I promise you. I love you so much, Angela. You're the strongest person I know. You can do this. Angela squeezed my hand. I love you too, she said. A nurse came in and told me that they had to take Angela to surgery now. The doctor said I needed to wait in the waiting room. I kissed Angela on her forehead and told her that I would be waiting for her. Come back to me, Angela said. Always, I said. I went to the waiting room and sat down in a hard plastic chair. There were other people there too. A man was sitting with his arms crossed, looking very worried. A woman was knitting something. Another man was sleeping in a corner. I did not want to sit. I wanted to walk. I wanted to do something. I could not just sit there and wait. I could not do nothing while my wife was having heart surgery. I walked to the window and looked outside. It was a beautiful Sunday morning. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. Birds were flying in the air. None of this seemed fair. How could the world be so beautiful when my wife was in a surgery room, having her heart cut open? I went back to my chair and sat down. I put my head in my hands. I prayed to God. I prayed harder than I had ever prayed in my whole life. Please, God, I said quietly. Please save my wife. Please let the surgery go well. Please let her live. I cannot live without her. Please help her. Time seemed to move very slowly. Minutes felt like hours. Every time a doctor came into the waiting room, my heart would jump. I would look up to see if the doctor was looking for me. But every time, the doctor was looking for someone else's family. I thought about Angela. I thought about the day we met. It was at a party when we were both young. She was so beautiful. She was wearing a red dress, and she was laughing at something someone said. I walked over to her and asked her to dance. She said yes. We danced all night. I fell in love with her that night. I thought about when I asked her to marry me. I got down on one knee at the beach. She cried and said yes. We got married 1 year later. It was the happiest day of my life. I thought about our life together. We had been through so much. We had been through good times and bad times. But we were always together. Angela always supported me, even when I was running for governor. She believed in me when I did not believe in myself. And now she was having heart surgery. She might die. I could lose her. I could not think about that. I would not think about that. Angela was going to be okay. She had to be okay. 1 hour passed. Then 2 hours. Then 3 hours. Finally, after 4 hours, a doctor came into the waiting room looking for me. Michael Chin, the doctor asked. Yes. That's me, I said, jumping up from my chair. Your wife made it through the surgery, the doctor said. The surgery was successful. We fixed the damage to her heart. We replaced 2 blood vessels that were blocked. She is very lucky. If you had gotten her to the hospital even 30 minutes later, she might not have survived. I felt like I could not breathe. My wife was alive. She made it through the surgery. She was alive. Can I see her? I asked. She's in recovery right now. She will be asleep for a few more hours because of the medicine we gave her. But yes, you can sit with her, the doctor said. I followed the doctor to the recovery room. Angela was lying on a hospital bed with many tubes and wires connected to her body. She had a big bandage on her chest where they had cut her open to do the surgery. She was wearing an oxygen mask. Machines next to her bed were making beeping sounds. The machines showed her heart beating and her blood pressure and her breathing. I pulled a chair over to her bed and sat down next to her. I took her hand very carefully. Her hand was very cold. You made it, Angela, I whispered to her, even though she could not hear me. You made it through. You're going to be okay. I'm here with you. I'm going to stay right here with you. I held her hand the whole time. I did not move. I did not go to get food. I did not go to the bathroom. I just sat there and held her hand and watched her sleep. Hours passed. It was now afternoon. Angela was still sleeping from the surgery medicine. I was still sitting next to her bed, holding her hand. I started thinking about my car. I had parked it in an emergency spot when we came to the hospital. That was several hours ago. The emergency spot was meant for emergency vehicles. But I had parked there because my wife was having a heart attack. It was an emergency. But what if someone had seen my car? What if someone had towed it? I borrowed a phone from a nurse at the front desk. I walked downstairs and went out to the parking lot to check on my car. When I got to the emergency parking area, my heart stopped. My car was not there. Instead, there was a bright yellow boot on the spot where my car used to be. On the ground, I saw a yellow ticket. It said, "Unauthorized parking, emergency zone, $500 fine." My car was gone. It had been towed away. I looked around the parking lot. I saw a woman sitting in her own car, watching me. She was an older woman with short gray hair. She was wearing the same yellow vest that said, Oakwood HOA Parking Enforcement. She got out of her car and walked over to me. "Are you the one who parked that car in the emergency spot?" she asked me. "Yes, I parked there," I said. My wife was having a heart attack. She needed emergency help. I had to get her to the hospital. The woman looked at me like she did not believe me. "My name is Patricia Morrison. I am the president of the Oakwood HOA," she said. "And I am the parking enforcement officer for this hospital. This parking lot is under contract with our HOA. We manage the parking here." "My wife was having a heart emergency," I said again. "I had to park there." "I do not care about your emergency," Patricia said coldly. "Rules are rules. This spot is for emergency vehicles only. Not for regular cars like yours. You parked illegally. So I had your car towed. You had my car towed while my wife was having heart surgery," I said. I could not believe what I was hearing. "Yes," Patricia said. "And it will cost you a lot of money to get it back. First, there is the $500 parking fine. That is because you parked in an emergency spot. Then there is the $200 boot removal fee. And then there is the $150 tow truck fee. That is $850 total. $850. I said. "That's insane. My wife was having a medical emergency." "I do not care," Patricia said. "You parked illegally. You have to pay." You can pay me right now in cash, and I will call the impound lot and tell them not to charge you the storage fee. If you do not pay me right now, then the impound lot will charge you another $50 per day for storing your car. I could not believe this was happening. I was the governor of this state. I had never been treated like this before. This woman was taking money from me while my wife was having heart surgery. I do not have $850 in cash on me right now, I said. My wife is upstairs having heart surgery. I need to be with her. That is not my problem, Patricia said. Your car will stay at the impound lot until you pay. And the storage fees will keep going up every day. This is crazy, I said. You cannot do this. This is a hospital. People have medical emergencies here. You cannot charge them money for parking during emergencies. I can do whatever I want, Patricia said. I am the HOA president. I have been in charge of parking at this hospital for 12 years. I have made hundreds of thousands of dollars from parking fines. And I will continue to make money as long as people like you break the rules. I looked at Patricia. She had a mean smile on her face. She did not care about my wife. She did not care about the emergency. She only cared about money. I'm leaving, I said. My wife needs me. I turned and walked back to the hospital. I was so angry. I was so frustrated. But I had to put that aside. I had to focus on Angela. Angela needed me. I called my father and asked him to come to the hospital with $850 in cash. My father came right away. He gave me the cash, and I called Patricia Morrison. I told her I had the money. She gave me instructions on where to take the money and how to get my car back. But I was not going to forget what she had done to me. The next day, Angela woke up from the surgery. She was very weak, but she was alive. The doctors said that the surgery had gone very well. Angela was going to recover. That evening, when Angela was sleeping, I made a call to my office. I called my chief of staff, a woman named Rebecca. I told her about Patricia Morrison and what she had done to me. Rebecca, I need you to find out everything about this woman, I said. I need to know who she is, where she comes from, and what she has been doing. I will look into it right away, Rebecca said. Over the next week, while Angela was recovering in the hospital, Rebecca was doing her investigation. She called me with updates every day. Governor, you need to see this, Rebecca said on the fourth day. Patricia Morrison has been running an illegal operation. What do you mean? I asked. The contract between the Oakwood HOA and St. Mary's Hospital expired 6 months ago, Rebecca said. Patricia Morrison had no legal right to tow cars or charge fines. She has been doing this illegally for years. What? I said. How is she getting away with this? The hospital did not even know the contract had expired, Rebecca said. Patricia just kept doing her job, and nobody questioned her. Rebecca told me that she had found more information. She had found dozens of complaints from other people who had been charged by Patricia Morrison. A man who had his car towed while his mother was having a stroke. A woman who was charged a fine while her son was having an asthma attack. A father who could not pick up his daughter from the hospital because his car was locked with a boot. How much money has she stolen? I asked. We're still counting, Rebecca said. But it looks like over $500,000 over the past 6 years. I was shocked. Patricia Morrison had stolen over $500,000 from people during their medical emergencies. Rebecca, I want everything, I said. I want every complaint. I want every fine record. I want her bank records. I want the hospital's legal team involved. I want the state attorney general involved. This woman is a criminal. I will make the calls, Rebecca said. Within 1 week, the state attorney general opened a criminal investigation into Patricia Morrison. The police got a search warrant and went to Patricia's house. They found evidence of her crimes. Patricia Morrison had been keeping 2 sets of books. One set of books was fake. She told the HOA that she was collecting parking fines and that she was giving most of the money to the HOA. But the truth was that Patricia was keeping almost all of the money for herself. She had made over $500,000 in 6 years. Patricia was arrested and charged with many crimes. She was charged with theft, fraud, illegal business operation, and extortion. She was also charged with what happened to me. The police said that what she did to me was extortion. She had threatened to keep my car if I did not pay her money during a medical emergency. That is extortion, which is a serious crime. Patricia went to court. She tried to say that she was not guilty. But the evidence against her was very strong. The police had her bank records. They had the complaints from dozens of people. They had the fake books that showed she was lying about the money. Patricia's lawyer told her to accept a plea deal. A plea deal means that she would say she was guilty, and the judge would give her a punishment. Patricia accepted the deal. She said she was guilty of all the charges against her. The judge gave her 20 years in prison. The Oakwood HOA immediately fired Patricia Morrison as president. They promised to give back all the money that had been stolen from people. Hundreds of families got refunds for the illegal fines. The hospital apologized for allowing Patricia to tow cars in the emergency area. The hospital hired a new parking company to manage the parking in the emergency area. This new company had strict rules that said they could not tow cars during medical emergencies. But I was not satisfied with just that. I wanted to make sure this could never happen again. I worked with other people in the government to create a new law. This law was very important. The law said that no private company can tow cars from hospital parking lots during medical emergencies. The law also said that during medical emergencies, people have the right to park their cars at the hospital without worrying about parking fines or towing. I called this law Angela's Law, because it was named after my wife. Angela's Law was created to protect families like mine from what happened to us. I introduced Angela's Law to the state legislature. The lawmakers read the law and heard my story about what happened to Angela and me. They heard about Patricia Morrison and what she had done to so many families. The lawmakers voted on Angela's Law. The vote was unanimous. Every single lawmaker voted yes. Nobody voted no. Angela's Law passed with no one against it. I signed Angela's Law into law at a big ceremony at the state capitol building. Angela was there with me. She was still recovering from her heart surgery, but she felt strong enough to be there. She wore a blue dress, and she looked beautiful. I held a press conference and told reporters about the law. Angela's Law is named after my wife, I said to the reporters and cameras. My wife, Angela, had a heart attack 1 year ago. I had to rush her to the hospital for emergency heart surgery. At the hospital, someone towed my car because I parked in an emergency spot. During the most important medical emergency of our lives, we also had to worry about parking fees and getting our car back. That is not fair. That is not right. Angela's Law makes sure that no family ever has to go through what we went through. I looked at Angela. She was smiling with tears in her eyes. Angela is alive today because we got her to the hospital fast, I said. But what if I had been too worried about parking fees to take her to the hospital? What if I had wasted time worrying about money instead of worrying about saving her life? We might have lost her. Angela's Law says that during medical emergencies, people do not have to worry about parking. People do not have to choose between saving their family and following parking rules. We save the family first. Everything else is not important. The press conference ended, and people applauded. 4 other states called me and said they wanted to make the same law in their own states. 1 year after her heart surgery, Angela was fully recovered. The doctors said her heart was working very well. She was strong and healthy again. She was back to her normal life. She was working at her job. She was exercising. She was happy. One night, Angela and I were sitting on our couch at home. We were watching television, but we were not really paying attention to the show. Angela was holding my hand. "Do you ever think about that day?" Angela asked me quietly. "Every day," I said. "I think about how scared I was. I think about how brave you were." "I was so scared," Angela said. "I thought I was going to die. I thought you were going to lose me." "You were so strong," I said. "You fought so hard. You survived." "So did you," Angela said. "You got me to the hospital. You were there with me the whole time. You saved my life." "We saved each other," I said. "That is what marriage is. We save each other." Angela leaned her head on my shoulder. We sat there in silence for a long time, just holding each other. "Thank you," Angela said finally. "For what?" I asked. "For fighting for me. For not giving up on me. For making Angela's law," she said. "Because of what you did, other families are safe now. Other people do not have to worry about what we worried about." "It was worth it," I said. "You are worth everything." One day, a letter came in the mail. It was from Patricia Morrison. She was writing from the prison where she was serving her 20-year sentence. The letter said, "Governor Chin, I know you do not want to hear from me. I do not deserve your time. But I need to write this letter because I need to say I am sorry. I am sorry for what I did to you. I am sorry for what I did to your wife. I am sorry for all the other people I hurt during their medical emergencies. I took money from people when they were suffering. I made them suffer even more. I was cruel and I was wrong. I was angry at the world, and I took it out on people who could not fight back. I told myself that I was just doing my job. I told myself that rules are rules. But the truth is that I was a thief and a bully. I was someone who hurt people for money. When I think about your wife having a heart attack while I was worried about a parking spot, I feel ashamed. I am ashamed of who I was. I am ashamed of what I did. Prison has given me time to think about my life. I have thought about all the people I hurt. I have thought about all the families I made suffer. I have thought about the money I stole. I cannot give that back to people. I cannot undo what I did. I can only say I am sorry. I do not expect you to forgive me. I do not deserve forgiveness. But I wanted you to know that I think about what I did every day. I think about your wife. I think about all the families I hurt. I hope you and your wife can find peace. I hope that Angela's law will protect other families from what happened to you. I hope that my crime will teach people to be kind to each other during emergencies. I am sorry. Patricia Morrison. I read the letter 2 times. Then I showed it to Angela. "What do you think I should do?" I asked. "I think you should let it go," Angela said. "She is in prison. You got justice. I am healthy. We got what we needed. Now we should move on and be happy." "I think you're right," I said. I did not write back to Patricia. I did not need to. Patricia was in prison. Angela was alive. Angela's law was protecting families. That was enough. 2 years after Angela's heart attack, we were living a peaceful and happy life. Angela was healthy and strong. We had traveled to many places. We had spent time with our family and friends. We were enjoying every day together. Angela's law was working. Hospitals across the country had changed their parking rules because of Angela's law. Families did not have to worry about parking fees during medical emergencies anymore. Because of what happened to Angela, other families were safer. Patricia Morrison was still in prison. She would be in prison for many more years. But I did not think about her often. She was just a part of our story. She was the bad part of our story. But she was not the important part. The important part of our story was Angela. The important part was that Angela survived. The important part was that we were stronger than what happened to us. One night, Angela and I were standing on our balcony, looking at the stars. It was a beautiful, clear night. The stars were shining very brightly. "Do you know what I'm proud of?" Angela asked me. "What?" I said. "I'm proud that Angela's law is helping people. I'm proud that my heart attack led to something good. I'm proud that we turned a bad thing into a good thing," she said. "You should be proud," I said. "You are a strong woman. You survived. You came through. You made a difference." Angela squeezed my hand. We stood there under the stars, grateful for our life together, grateful that Angela was alive, grateful that we could help other families. "I love you," Angela said. "I love you too," I said. "Always." And that was the end of our story. Not an end of unhappiness, but an end of peace. An end of happiness. An end of a family that had been through something terrible and came out stronger on the other side. Patricia Morrison had tried to hurt us during our worst moment. But she had failed. Because what she did to us had made us stronger and had helped us help other people. That is the real victory. Not revenge, but helping others. Not punishment, but protection. Not stopping in the past, but moving forward into the future. That is Angela's story. That is my story. That is a story about a woman who survived, a man who loved her, and a law that will help families forever.